guys, my name's Taniko. Today I'm going to be making a Wellington, but a veganised version. I actually watched this on a Gordon Ramsay cooking show, so it's not my own entire recipe. But what I've been doing since going vegan is looking at all different recipes, or what I'd normally cook as a meat eater, but replacing that with non-animal products, and just basically making it taste just as good, if not better, as I said, without the animal products within them. It is a bit late. I was going to actually make this as my Christmas roast main, but in the end I just ended up having the Linda Carney sausages, which are actually vegan and they're so nice. I ended up having those by themselves, but I'm going to be using those in the middle of the Wellington as the meat substitute, and yet just experiment with it. So I thought, why not film it for you guys, because I feel like there is quite a misconception slash, you know, something, you know, in the future that stops you, where you just have this idea that it's so difficult to go vegan, and you think, what am I going to eat, how am I going to do it, and whatnot. And I can relate to that. Being a meat eater myself before, I did think, oh, it's something in the distant future where, how am I ever going to manage to do that, you know, what am I possibly going to survive on. But now, since making the changes and, you know, throwing myself in there, I've realised this really is, you know, it becomes a lot easier as you get into it. But I am going to start making these videos just with my meals that I make, because as I said, I make them the same way but just minus the animal products. So it's just for you guys to see how easy it can be, and that you can get nutritious meals, tasty meals that don't have the animal products in them, and, you know, just survive on them, believe it or not. So yeah, just please keep watching if you want to find out how I made it. And it is my first time, so do bear with me, I haven't made this before, but hopefully it'll turn out nice. So stay tuned. Thanks. So I've just preheated my oven to 180. I'm going to get the sausages out now to show you. So these are the Linda McCartney ones I was referring to. See them? They literally sell them in almost every supermarket, literally. They're like £1.25, and they're 6 in a packet, so it's quite a bargain as well. And as I said, they're so nice. They're nicer than pork sausages, honestly, that's what's true. Okay, so I'm going to start by cooking these. Pop these in the oven. Yeah, they just look like this. They do look actually quite meaty by themselves. Literally, once they cook as well, they taste, obviously, yes, they taste like pork sausages. Sometimes I have to convince myself, like, just say no, they're not actually meat. Like, remind myself, because they taste so similar and nicer, and even the smell when they cook somehow is like them. But that just shows you that actually with the meat products, they with meat products, of course, it's not necessarily the meat itself, is it, that you're eating, it's the seasoning they then put it in after, because we wouldn't just eat, you know, a slab of raw meat or something like that. As I said, that's for the middle of the Wellington, which is going to be our meat substitute in this. That's going to be the main sort of body of the Wellington. I've then got so essentially that's going to be in the middle as the body, as I said. Then we're going to make a little paste, which is going to go around the sausages, you know, on the inside coating of the pastry. And that's going to be made with these chestnut mushrooms and some actual chestnuts as well. So what I'm going to do is just stick these chestnuts in the oven as well now to roast. Just going to stick some fresh grease paper on this tray. I open my chestnuts, going all over the gaff now. And literally, you don't really need to do much, but just pop them on like this onto your tray. And what you want to do, you do need quite a sharp knife. But if you just make a small incision on the top there, I don't know if you can see, on the top there, just slice across, because then essentially once it roasts and softens up, that will then pop out, and that's where it gets all tender, if you know what I mean. And obviously if it's solid without that little incision in there, it's just going to make it a lot more difficult for it to expand. So if you just do that for all of them. So I've just stuck my chestnuts in the oven now. You want to put them on about 180 fan for about half an hour, 180 to 100 depending on if you've got fan or gas. I'm just going to take my chestnut mushrooms now, a little rinse. I'm using pretty much the whole packet. I'm just going to leave a few in there. They're quite big anyway, as you can see, they're quite big. So I've got about about 7 in there, because they're quite chunky ones. Got my mushrooms now, and what we're going to do is de-stem them, so just pull out the little stem. Just put that back in the box, you can reuse that anyways. Just pull it out gently so that you keep the top bit intact. So these are quite chunky ones. You can get ones that are a bit slimmer than this, but these are nice sort of plump chestnut mushrooms that I got. I'm just going to chop them just finely that way. Just finished chopping the mushrooms. I only used about 6 of them in the end because they did make quite a lot, about a plateful there. Sorry about my lighting as well, it is terrible. It's not perfect sort of studio, but it will do for now. What's also going to go in with our into blender for our paste to go within the pastry is a bit of garlic as well. This is quite a chunky bit of garlic. I don't normally follow recipes or cook to, you know, to a T where it's like 40 grams of X or 10 grams of Z. I mean, unless I'm doing cakes and stuff, because actually it makes a big difference when you calculate it exactly for stuff like cakes. But when I'm just cooking generally, I don't cook like that, so this is just guesstimate, and I'm sort of editing this as I go along anyways. So I'm just going to put quite the most of this in, but just because it's quite a fat chunk of garlic, just leave about that much out. Just going to show you the pastry I've got and then put it back in the fridge. It's just puff pastry. This one's actually from Lidl. It is vegan. This is quite a good, I mean most of them are vegan to be honest, because they're just literally, yeah, flour, sugar, salt. It's like the main ingredients of it. So yeah, this is actually a vegan one. It's like £1 from Lidl, maybe just under £1. The actual puff pastry brand I think is called Just Roll. That one's also like £1 or £1 something. They're also vegan as well. In the meantime, whilst I'm waiting for my chestnuts to be ready, I'm going to just make my sauce, because I'm going to put a bit of a dressing sauce around the sausages before they're wrapped in with the paste and the pastry on the outside. Add a bit of mustard in first. Want a nice drizzle of it. So add in your mustard. I'm going to add in a bit of pepper, just normal ground pepper. I'll just put like a little teaspoon of salt. I might just add a tiny little bit. This is just chicken seasoning, it's just got paprika and stuff like that in it. I'm just going to add a tiny drizzle of this just to make the flavours pop. Okay, I'm just going to add in a tiny bit of olive oil as well, just to bind all that together. Okay, so now we've got a sort of paste. As you can see, it's not too gloopy and not too runny as well. You don't want it too runny, because if it's too runny, especially because you're putting the pastry around the outside, if it's too runny, it's going to basically seep through if it's too liquidy. So you want it to have the right consistency so that it sort of sticks to whatever bit you're putting in your Wellington. My sauce, I just went back in, I just tasted it a bit, my sisters tasted it as well, and it's a bit bitter for us. So a little trick you can do is, again, just do it to your taste. It doesn't have to be you have to do it this certain way. If you taste it and you don't like it, you can alter it as well. If you want it to be spicy, add a bit of spice in there, do what you want. For, I said, because it was a bit bitter, what we can do is, as a little trick, just add a bit of sugar. And so I just added a bit of brown sugar in there. Literally I just put a very, very tiny amount on the teaspoon, and just added that in. So basically what that will do is just give it more of a caramelized taste, so that's, it's quite nice now, because it's got that, still got that bitter edge and the sourness of the mustard, but it's also nice and sort of sweet caramelly taste, which binds it all together as well, so it's really nice. So that's our paste done. I am just going to leave this to the side and wait for my chestnuts. I've got my blender here. Just going to add in my ingredients now to make the paste. So I've got here my mushrooms that we chopped finely. Just going to add those in. Just pop your garlic in as well. So our chestnuts are done now. And you'll see these ones actually, they haven't raised out of the sort of shell as much as I would have liked them, but they are soft. I've just left them to cool for a while because they're really hot to begin with, obviously, when they come out of the oven, so you need to wait until they're cool enough for you to hand off. I'm just going to burn your fingers, pull them open so that they all come out of their shell. Take your chestnuts and just chop them. By the way, the main reason actually I'm slicing everything so finely is because my blender's not that good. Obviously it will make it a quicker process as well, but if you have a slightly better blender you might not have to chop it as small as I'm doing it. Once that's all done, I'm just going to go back to my blender now. I'm just going to add in my chestnuts. And I'm just going to add in a little bit of pepper. I did have to add in a little bit of water and then just a touch of milk just to make it give it a bit of creaminess, because as I said, my blender is not that good. It's also not one of the proper food processors. It's actually meant to be for smoothies. As I said, improvisation. You know, do with whatever you've got in the kitchen. There's always a way. So you can see it's just turned into quite a paste. It's normally a lot more dry than this when you do it, obviously without adding the water in. But as I said, for the purpose of doing this dish anyway, it smells quite nice actually. You can just, as I said, just improvise as you need to. This is what it looks like now. It's just a sort of gloopy paste, but you can see the bits in it as well. Then what we're going to do is just take a pan and just pour the mixture into the pan, because what we need to do is just get it a bit heated up so it's not as liquidy. If it is too liquidy, it's not going to sit well with when we add it onto the pastry. So I'm just going to cook this down now. Just want to keep working, just don't want it to stick. Okay, so this is done now. It's not that different, but it is a bit more glumpy, as you can see. So now all of our paste is cooled down. You can see it's quite lumpy and thick here, so that's exactly what we want. That's cooled right down. So as I said, you don't want to put anything hot onto the pastry, otherwise that's going to cause it to go soggy once you bake it in the oven. I'm going to open up my puff pastry now. And you literally just roll it out like so. Just put that onto the pastry, smoothing it over. Right. I'll place those down. I could do it long ways and put 1, 2 at the top. Just going to drizzle on my sauce that we made earlier, the dressing. So I've just pulled up my bit of pastry, and you're just going to clench together gently like that and just start to roll. You want to just tuck it in underneath as you're rolling. You want to keep it tight, and as I go as well, here you can see on this side, I'm going to start to pinch down and squash it at the edges, and then I'm just going to take my knife and just make little slices on the top. This is soy milk, whatever milk you've got in the fridge, whether that's nut milk, rice milk, whatever it is. I normally have nut milks. They're the nicest that I like. These normally I just use for tea, so I get these. They're from Lidl actually. They're literally like 60p, so they're really good. I don't really drink soy milk too much by itself, but as I said, for milk and stuff like putting in mashed potato and whatnot, it is really good, so it's good value for money as well. So I get just a little pot, just put a bit of milk in there. God, I don't want to show you, otherwise it's going to spill out. Take a little teaspoon and you can just brush it on lightly. So that's all loaded onto the baking tray now. I've just got a bit of grease paper at the bottom of there, just so nothing seeps off. I'm just going to go ahead and pop that in the oven now for about half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour. Just keep an eye on it. You just want to look for when it's starting to go lovely and golden crisp, starting to rise. Go ahead and poke your knife in there to just check and see if it's still soggy, you know, what stage it's at, but you can just judge it by eye anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop that in the oven now. So that is my veganised festive Wellington for you. If you did enjoy it, then please do subscribe below, as I'll be doing a lot more videos like this with you know, different meal ideas, baking ones as well. If there's any suggestions that you guys have, then please do let me know and I shall try to do them for you. this is just for anyone out there, whether you're vegan already and you need some ideas and you're just bored of your own recipes or need some spicing up, then this is for you. Also, if you're considering going vegan but you don't know how, again, you need a bit of guidance, then I just hope that I can put these out there and just clarify for people a bit more and give them some insight into what you can actually do as a vegan and how simple it can be. So please do stay tuned with me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.